We're knitting and doing book reviews today. We've got books, we've got yarn. Grab your knitting needles, hook, or whatever else you're working on, even your cup of coffee or tea if you'd like. We're gonna get into this. So before we start, my name is Rami. Welcome back to my channel. I am a knitter, crocheter, and author living in New York City. I love supporting my fellow indie authors, and today we're going to be diving into an indie book written by Lois P. Gateley. The name of the book is The Slave's Prince. I'm gonna continue working on my blouse, my mohair blouse, while we dive into this book. The Slave's Prince is the second book in the series of the Elven Light saga. It can be read as a standalone, and I got the pleasure of reading this, full disclosure, before it was published. So I got to enjoy it as it was being beta read. And unlike most readers, I got to message the author whenever I was feeling one of those, oh my God, no moments. And like, are you really doing this to me right now kind of moments. So before we dive in, I'm going to give you the summary of the book, and then we're going to get into the details. So, The Slave's Prince. A slave's life is short and brutal. How much more so for a slave with a deadly secret? Already? Awesome. Vasha is a Vasanthi slave with a chip on his shoulder, tossed from one Azovian master to another, guarding the circumstances of his birth that, if discovered, could end his life. Fate brings him to the last place he wanted to be, serving in the palace right under the eye of the king, and within the reach of Vladir, the head of the king's guard, well known for his cruelty. In Azovia, there's a saying, all men are slaves. Prince Ivan is uncomfortably well acquainted with that particular proverb. Disowned and disgraced for his deafness, he's restricted to a hidden corner of the palace. With no remaining friends among the court, he must find allies among the slaves, never imagining how Vasha will turn his life upside down as they search for freedom together. The Slave's Prince is a story of brotherhood, love, and finding meaning when all seems lost. Now, The Slave's Prince is not a romance. It is a high fantasy novel that follows the journey of our young protagonist from boyhood to adulthood. Our young protagonist, his name is Vasha, and he's born into slavery. Now, without giving too much away, the things this kid goes through, man, I wanted to rip apart some of the people he met in this book. Like, I wanted to get up in their face and go, don't treat my Vasha this way. Excuse me? Who are you looking down at? Who are you abusing? Who are you hurting? Right? So on a scale of 1 to 5 of how invested I was in this story, I give it a solid 5. I couldn't put it down. I was begging for extra chapters. I wanted to know how it was going to end. Now, on the emotional resonance scale, which I'm also going to be giving a score between 1 and 5, I also give it a whopping 5 because, oh dear, how many times I cried reading this book. I literally had tears going down my face, and I was holding back sobs, and my husband would look at me going, what are you crying about? I'm like, it's so sad. And I'm like, at points, I was like, is there a light at the end of this tunnel? Is Vasha going to get a good ending? Because we're getting towards the end of the book, and still everything's like up in flames. Life sucks. And I was scared that I would not get a happy ending. But the author assured me that my patience would be rewarded. And in fact, we do have, I would say, a good ending for Vasha. Now, this is the second book in the series, but it can be read as a standalone, which is how I read it. I didn't read the first book in the series, and you don't have to read the first book in the series to understand everything that's going on in the second book. The world building done by this author is phenomenal. She does such a great job of explaining everything, the culture, the food, the clothing, and the clothing is a really big thing, I would say, in this book. In Vasha's culture. And without giving too many spoilers, there is a certain type of shirt one wears that's given to them that truly marks them as part of their culture. The writing quality, I would also give it a solid 5. Everything was well written. There were no awkward sentences. There was no choppiness to it. The writing is very smooth and flows easily. You can just sit down and read without any problems. The only issues, I would say, and it's not nothing to do with the writing quality, it's that there is a whole new world that Gateley created. So there's going to be a lot of terms that are unknown to the audience. And if you love fantasy, that's all you want, right? You want to escape into a new world, into a new culture, into a different life. So that's the only caveat. There's it's a learning curve because you're going into the second book, but the author does a great job explaining everything, so you don't feel like it's a second book in the series. So as I mentioned before, Vasha is the main character, and we meet him as a child, a young boy, and we follow him on his journey through life, where he gets sold into slavery, where he goes from one owner to another owner, how he gets beaten within an inch of his life. And then he meets our second main character, Prince Ivan. Now, I gotta hand it to the author. She wrote Ivan phenomenally. Ivan is a prince, but he happens to be deaf. And to write a disabled character correctly, you have to know some things. And Gateley executes it perfectly. I could really understand the struggle of Prince Ivan trying to communicate with people through basically sign language, and how he was being treated for being different and being unable to speak his mind to the general public. One of my favorite parts of the book is when Prince Ivan is teaching Vasha sign language and how they are then able to communicate with each other. It was wonderfully done, beautifully written. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, as for the cover, rating it on a scale of 1 to 5, I'd give it a solid 4. The colors are beautiful. We get a nice depiction of Vasha, and I think it fits the fantasy genre. We've got the young boy, we've got the marks of a slave. You can even see the details on his back. I think it's very beautifully drawn. And since this is fantasy, we get a map. Get a map of the world. And I'm a sucker for maps. I love maps. I love staring at them. I love learning about the world. It's one of my favorite things. That's why I love fantasy. High fantasy, low fantasy, just give me fantasy. So that is The Slave's Prince. You can get your own copy. It's available on Amazon. Paperback is $15.99, and if you want to get the ebook version, it's also available for $6.99. Unfortunately, it's not on Kindle Unlimited, so you can't read it there, but it is available. It's a great coming-of-age story. It is suitable for all readers. So on my book review scale, emotional resonance, 5. Writing quality, 5. How invested I was, 5+. Book cover, 4. Going for a total of 19 out of 20. Highly recommend. I love supporting fellow indies, and if there is a book that you've read that is a fantasy, send it my way. Link it down below. I'll check it out, and maybe I'll even leave a review on it. Until then, I'm Rami, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye!